Good to see all your lovely faces. Oh. Trust me, that's better than the real photo. That makes us look good. So as some of you are aware, or probably all of you are aware, Michael and I have been overseas. That's our plane trip. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's been praying for us. You will see some of the results of your prayers, because I'm not sure that much of it would have happened without your prayers. It was quite remarkable. So let's have a look, see what we've got. That's the African sun. Look at that. It's the first day. That's all you get. Sorry, it's the only photo I took. No, it's not. So what was the purpose of our trip? We went over there primarily because our friends, Salvador and Di, we've known them for 15 years-ish through another organisation called Moriel. And they've been missionaries over in South Africa now for close to 20 years, I think. So originally they based themselves up in Zululand, and so Selvi has learnt to speak Zulu, which is fascinating to listen to. It's got all the clicks in it. He was there, I think he was there for close to 10 years, and then they kind of came back to New Zealand during COVID, and now they've been based down in KwaZulu-Natal, which is a little bit lower. I don't know if anyone knows South Africa. I know my friend knows South Africa. But he's had to relearn the local dialect, which is similar to Zulu, but it is different. And so he's had to re-gear. He's currently studying for his PhD in theology, and so very good friends. So he asked if we had thought about going to South Africa to do some evangelism training. So I kind of said, maybe I have. So that's the reason we went over, to do evangelism training and to do outreaches with them. So so this is the roads. I don't know if you noticed anything funny there. This is just normal traffic in South Africa. People hanging out the back of trucks, as you do. You know, the things that they steal from us in this country, the joy of sitting in the back of a truck. Like, why would we not be allowed to stand in the back of a truck? It looks so fun, doesn't it? Like, who needs air conditioning? Let's see what else we got. These videos are a bit... So, as you'll notice, people walk everywhere. So, it's very common. Some of these videos aren't playing very well, but that's all right. People walk everywhere, and so it's quite an interesting dynamic. The way everybody gets around, but a little bit chaotic. The road rules are just a suggestion, so you would think it's not terribly dissimilar to the drivers out here in Victoria. But, oh, that's Michael and Selvi. You stick a mattress in the back of the bakkie. So what it's called, it's like a box truck. It's actually a really comfortable seat. I almost fell asleep driving in the back of that. It's a beautiful way to travel. So the first couple of days we were over there, we did get a rest, which was nice because the jet lag was it's 22 hours flying. It's 39 hours travelling from like doorstep to doorstep. So, and you don't get much sleep during that time. So we got to spend a couple of days at this place and just relax and try and get over the jet lag, which was nice. Get to meet some of the friends of Selvi. And this was our housekeeper. So when you rent the shack or the batch or whatever you call it, it comes with a housekeeper. She was lovely, Greta. We managed to share the gospel with her, and it's really interesting. The biggest thing that I was surprised about with South Africa is that it has a Christian culture, and so most people identify as Christian. Now, Greta was a believer, but she struggled to see her personal sin. Sin was kind of a general thing that everybody had, and so it was really interesting trying to share that. I kind of let Selvi do most of the work because it's really hard to share the gospel through a translator. It's just you lose the flow of the conversation. So this is down at the beach. This is just like a traditional ancestor ceremony. We saw a few people go down to the beach and do like cleansings and stuff. So this is just part of the local. So this is the first Sunday that we were there. I got to preach at this Ezekosa church. This was quite the remarkable service, actually. I don't want to put down any of the musicians here, but man, they sounded good. There's something about a cappella, especially when they're doing harmonies, and just when you're brought up in a culture of singing, it's just magical to listen to. So, yeah, I could listen to this all day, to be honest. One of the really interesting things is, as I sat where the camera is here, I actually struggled to compose myself. It was remarkably moving. In fact, you'll see Michael here in a sec. He was struggling to compose himself too. Where are you, Michael? We know we're in Africa.
One, two, three.
Hello, Oakley Baptist. It was incredibly moving, partly because I've dreamt of going overseas and doing missions for years, and so when you think of all those things and you're constantly thinking about evangelism and trying to reach the nations, to be in a service and just listening to that and just realizing you're there, I really struggled to hold myself together. And I had to preach that day. So this is this is what they fed us at the church. This was actually the most terrifying thing of the trip. Driving in the back of a ute, no problem. Flying in a tin can, over the ocean, not a problem. Eating strange food in a foreign country, terrifying. So this I can't tell you what this is because I'm not quite sure what it is, but it originally got served to me, so Michael and I kind of swapped plates, and I got the carrots and the beetroot and the rice, and then I managed to palm off my chicken to the guy next to me. I'm terrible with food. But we survived. We got through it. So that's the local church. Oh, look at this. Who wants to learn a local saying? This is what Selby taught us. Anyone want to learn it with me? Okay. I need loud voices. Okay. First syllable. Ooh. Water. Ooh. Water. You're doing very well, actually. Goose. Siam. Can you say the whole thing together? Ooh, water, goose, Siam. Now, oops, this is upside down. They don't have gravity over there because they're on the other side of the world. But this is Michael and I learning this saying.
Oompa loompa. Loompa. Oompa loompa. And the next one is, I've got another riddle for you. Another one is, ooh. Ooh. Water. Water. Goo.
Okay. Do you want to know what the translation is?
Zaya.
Sorry, that was a trick. Oh, what a goose I am. So you're supposed to say it to the British national anthem. Oh, what a goose I am. Something like that. Anyway. We were totally hoodwinked, Michael and I in the back at loudest voices. And because you're so busy concentrating, you don't realise actually what you're being taught. And so we learnt how to say, what a goose I am. Alrighty, so one of the things we got to do was share the gospel at business places. So this is Jason. He runs a local insurance company, and they'll get someone to come in is either be every morning on some farms or maybe every fortnight to come and share the gospel with the workers. And so it'll be on work time. The workers have the option to come and listen, or they can keep working. And so we got to go in there and share the gospel. In fact, there was one of his clients happened to be in the driveway when we turned up, who Salvador knew the rest of his family. And so he ended up coming into the meeting as well. And he'd just committed his life to Christ a couple of weeks ago. And so he had a bunch of questions that he was asking. It was quite remarkable. This is on, actually that's Jason again. This is on a farm that his family own, and his wife kind of runs a nursery there. And this is workers, and we got to share the gospel with them for, I think we shared about an hour at this place. It's just a remarkable opportunity. Like, I'm waiting for Australian business owners to say, hey Chris, come along and share the gospel to my workers. I don't know if it'd be legal, but yeah, really interesting. This was Monday. This was day 2 of ministry. So this is the local public high school. It's an English school, so they taught in English, but there's roughly 200 to 300 students here that we were given an hour to speak to them with. So you can see them all lined up there.
Right.
So
I didn't hear any no's then.
I basically just shared the gospel for maybe 40 minutes, and then we opened it up to Q&A. And I tell you what, preaching in a church like this is no longer terrifying after being in front of 300 teenagers with questions. That's terrifying. But they had amazing questions.
So what does that say about ourselves?
And because it's a Christian culture, you know, they're not afraid of the gospel in the sense. They just may not understand it fully. So there are actually a lot of Catholics. Let's see if I can push that on. There's a lot of Catholics in the audience. There's some Jehovah's Witnesses in there. But yeah, we are opened up to questions, and that went for quite a while. It actually went into the next class, and then they basically said to the students, look, you should go back to class, but if you really need a question answered, then you're allowed to stay back. And of course, nobody wanted to go back to class, so they hung out and kept asking questions, and they had great questions, yeah. And so it was just such a remarkable opportunity to share the gospel with people. In fact, I'll see if I can remember one of the questions. It was less of a question and more of a rhetorical statement that she was lamenting. But she said, how can I live with my aunt who is a witch and has killed members of our family? This is like a 14-year-old. Because ancestor worship is a really deep thing there, and a lot of strange things go on. And so it was tragic, some of it. But to share the gospel with them and just to clarify the gospel to them was just such a remarkable experience. So this is a prayer meeting that we had. So we had a couple of prayer meetings, and we'd share a devotion at the prayer meeting. That's a Bible study that we held. Got to share a lot about evangelism at the Bible study. This is some field preaching that we did. And so you go out into some of the remote rurals and get a big speaker like one of those ones, turn it up full bore, and blast it down the valley. That's basically what we did. And you know, the sound would travel quite a distance, but people would come out of their huts and they'd bring their children and they'd come and sit around and listen as we would go through the gospel. So a friend that Michael made, he's an evangelist. He goes, you know, hut to hut, sharing the gospel. Lovely guy. Yeah, so some of the mums that came out with their kids, and Selvy's preaching to them, and we had to go. Michael got up and open air preached, and I had to go as well. It's really special to go out there and share the gospel. And then this was the evangelism training. So on the Friday night, we did one session, and then on the Saturday, we did another 2 sessions. So we had about 40, 50 people turn up, which is pretty good for a town of Coxstead. I think it's like 50,000 people. So it was really good. People soaked it up. They loved it. And then we took them out on the street of Coxstead. I tell you what, After going out to Oakley on Friday night, 2 days ago, man, I wish I was back in Coxted. It's so much harder in Australia. People are so cold to the gospel generally compared to somewhere like South Africa, where they're just much more open to talk. It doesn't mean that they're going to take up everything you say, but just so much more open. And so this is why I would encourage people, if you can come out and do evangelism in Australia, you can do an evangelism anywhere in the world, because Australia is one of the hardest places to reach people. And yet, really, on a typical Friday night, it's not hard, it's just comparatively, it's a bit more work. So that was very interesting. And most people speak English, so that's good, because I don't know any, well, I know 4 words. What did we learn? Molo, which is hello. In Corsi is thank you. Anjani is how are you? And I can't remember the I am well, but the we are well is siapila. So there's the 4 words I learnt. Oh, and laka, which is cool, sweet as. So a lot of these guys came out, were on the street for the first time. We had about 10 or 15 people out on the street, and I think only 3 of them would normally go out. So it was really interesting. Actually, he was out on Saturday when we came back. So yesterday Dylan was out again sharing the gospel, and they're really keen. In fact, some of the young guys, they were heading up and they were going to the Muslim barbers and sharing the gospel with the local Muslims, and they were just very zealous. And then this is the Sunday gathering where we got to share again with them. So, oh, look at that, some local wildlife. A monkey. It's about the most exotic thing I saw in Africa. No giraffes, no zebras, no lions, just a monkey. And I think I've got another monkey here as well somewhere. Where is it?
Who's staring at me?
Let me see if there's...
We'll never rest till then. This I swear by the stars.
It was secret videoing in the back of the car as Michael and Selvi were singing at the top of their lungs Les Mis songs as we're driving to the airport to come home. So, so I tell you what was interesting is the further we got through the trip and the more exhausted I felt, I think I commented to Michael that I felt like I was being carried. And we could only attribute it to your prayers and people that were praying. Was just that, your brain is so fried. I've got so many different messages in my brain. I don't know which one I'm supposed to be doing. And just to feel like, just the energy and everything else, just being carried along. It was almost like an out-of-body experience kind of thing. It's just like, it was very comforting to know that God was with us and that you guys were praying for us. I'll move on in a sec. I think probably the highlight for me was the African church that we went to. It was just such an overwhelming experience. It was truly amazing. And the high school. The high school was just remarkable. Like, to have 300 teenagers listen to you. Like, I tried to get 3 teenagers in Oakley here to come and listen to me. And I'm overjoyed with that. So to have, 200 or 300 was just really special and engaged, like so polite. Sir, they'd ask their questions, sir, but it was truly amazing. What was the low light? I think probably the low light, and it's not really a low light, it's probably a highlight, but the low light is the implications. Like, just seeing how people can live so simply, and then to think of the life that we live and the implications of that, and to think, are we squandering our resources? Are we squandering our time? Like, those kind of implications really started to hit home the more we kind of saw how they live. And the thing with South Africa is there's a lot of wealth, but there's also a lot of poverty, and they're right next door to each other. So you've got a fancy house with electric fencing around it, and then you've got shacks and mud huts, and it's quite confronting. What are our takeaways? Do you have any takeaways, Michael? KFC. Michael loves KFC. My takeaway is just the urgency of doing more. Like to see that there's nations where they need the gospel really just kind of revs me up a bit more to do more, to serve more, to evangelize more, and to get the gospel out into the nations, I think is so crucial. So that's South Africa for you. Amazing time. If you want to know any more, come and talk to me.